Hi, everyone. Welcome to this presentation. We are mymaastricht. We're a digital information platform for students who are moving to Maastricht for the first time to study. I'm the project coordinator for this project. And tonight is just going to be a presentation about all the things that you should really be considering before moving here. It's everything from like how to get health insurance to like where the best bars are in the city. So don't be afraid to ask any question that's, bothering you about Maastricht. We have Orla and we have Rania here who are our student employees. So they're currently studying here in Maastricht. And I'm going to let them kick it off.
Hi everyone, my name is Rania. I work at mymaastricht as a content coordinator. So basically working on the website, a lot of things you see, I'm working on those. Otherwise, as Aisling said, I study in Maastricht. I do medicine and international business. And yeah, I've lived here for 2 years now, or almost 2 years, and I really liked it so far.
Hey guys, I'm Orla. I'm just finishing my master's in media studies, digital cultures in Maastricht. And I'm the social media manager. So anything you see on any of our social media, if you message us, that's me replying to these. Ready to go?
Absolutely, let's get rolling. So here's a quick overview about what we're going to talk about today. Very briefly, first about the city, then housing. That is one of the big questions. How do I find housing? What should I look out for? So on and so forth. We're also going to be talking about bikes, transportation. We're in the Netherlands, so everybody's basically cycling everywhere. So just get you up to speed with all the biking rules and how to find a bike or get a bike. Also some living essentials and how we can help in case you have any questions or anything you are wondering about. The presentation is going to last around 60 minutes, depending on how much you have questions. And we have a Q&A section, as Aisling said, in the toolbar, so you can find it there, ask any questions. And also if you have some questions at the end, then we'll try and answer those as well.
Brilliant. So what is mymaastricht.nl? We are a one-stop information platform to help you to settle and find your feet in the city. So we do this by providing information on like the fun stuff, like where to go, where to drink, where to go for nice food, but also the more serious stuff that you do need to know about, like applying for Dutch subsidies. So we are created by students for students, and we are affiliated with Maastricht University, Zoid University, and Gemeente Maastricht as well.
So briefly about Maastricht, we are a very diverse and international town. There are around 120,000 inhabitants, of which 20,000 are students. So it's very largely a student city. You see students anywhere you go in the city. There's students living everywhere. So definitely a very young vibe in that sense. The majority of the students are from abroad. There is a very big spectrum of nationalities of where people come from. And also a big portion of the staff is also international. So for example, as your tutors in the university or as lecturers, you might have people from all over the world. Maastricht is also very central in Europe. There's a lot of airports, a lot of possibilities to travel internationally as well as nationally. So you can get to Amsterdam in around 2.5 hours, or to Brussels in 1.5 hours. But also we have 9 airports in the vicinity of the city within 3 hours or so by public transportation. So there's a lot of options to, for example, go for a weekend trip somewhere, maybe grab a cheap flight or take a cheap train or Flixbus and travel around Europe.
So this is just a screenshot of what our website looks like. And if you look at the compass there, you can see the topics we cover. So again, the serious stuff like finances, housing, health and transport, but also we have fun stuff like a city map, a community section, events going on in the city, and then also a sports section. And we also have some blogs that Rania is currently writing at the minute. And you can read them as well if you want to know what to do before you arrive.
So then on to what I would say that is the most burning question and what you have mostly been wondering about. At least this was one of the stressful things about moving into this town. So the Netherlands in general is a little bit iffy, or it can be a little challenging to find housing. But definitely if you're arriving in September, then start looking for a place to stay now. If you have already found something, that's great. We are really happy for you on that. There are many ways to find housing. If you are click one forward. First of all, there is an option for Maastricht Housing, which is the official university housing platform or agency. It's working in collaboration with both Maastricht University as well as Zuid, which is the other university in town. How it works is that you pay a 35 euro fee. It's a one-time fee. So if you register now, then you don't need to register ever again or pay ever again. So you paid once. And through this, you can access all the guest houses and apply for them. Apply for housing in those. They have several different options around the city. So for example, they have rooms. If you have been registered for a longer time, then you might have a chance to apply for studios as well that are located in a little bit different settings and so on. So also what they do is that they have a system that for some accommodations, you're only able to apply after you have registered for a certain amount of time. So for example, for 6 months. So even if you would not be arriving now in September, but maybe next February, then feel free to already register, because then the options to what type of housing you can also apply to is larger. There are also these official social housing corporations. So for example, Maasvali, Servatius and Woonpunt. How these work is that they have a maximum income that you are allowed to earn. And the rent rate is generally quite affordable also for students. How the majority of students then find accommodation is through private landlords. There's several places to look out for. The first, and what we would maybe also recommend the most, is Facebook. There are a ton of different Facebook groups. Just type into search bar Maastricht housing or Maastricht apartments, and you'll find several groups, and you can join those and directly see what available rooms or apartments or studios there are. What we would definitely recommend is writing a short text about yourself and then sending that forward, but we'll talk more about that on the next slide. Other options are Pararis and Kamernet. So they are both platforms where people can download their apartments or their rooms. Kamernet is for rooms, Pararis is more for apartments, but they do have some rooms as well. However, please be aware that a lot of scams happen. Usually, if it's too good to sound, if it's sounding too good to be true, it is usually that. So if somebody is saying that you can pay 100 euros for an apartment, that's definitely not going to happen. Also, always suggest at least an online viewing if you're not physically in Maastricht, because this will enable you to actually see that the place is legit and the risk of a scam is slightly lower. There are also other options for housing. So a new alternative in Maastricht is called hospi housing. So how it works is you pay, again, a very affordable price to live with someone else. Usually it is a more elderly person or somebody who's already a little older who has an extra room, and they are then renting out this room. It's a type of social housing as well. You can read more about it on the website of hospi housing. Otherwise, there is Xior and the student hotel, which are a little bit more expensive solutions. But for example, the student hotel offers you a bike, and they have an on-site gym as well. There's also Stay OK, which is for more shorter term solutions. And if you are left, press one more, enter. So the current instruction from Maastricht Housing is that you should not arrive in the city if you have not secured accommodation. The university does not have any official accommodation themselves, so they are not able to provide you with a room or with any other housing. And the housing market is so saturated that if you haven't found a room by September, then the university is not suggesting to arrive then. Additionally, there is the service called Huurteam Zuid-Limburg. So for example, if you are uncertain if your rental contract is legitimate, or you have some other legal concerns, maybe your landlord is charging you very much for something and you're wondering, what is this and should I be paying this? Definitely contact the Huurteam Zuid-Limburg. They're a free legal service and they'll check everything out for you. We have their email at the end of our presentation, so you can grab it from there.
Okay, so here's housing tips and tricks from stuff that we've done ourselves. So what we recommend is turning on notifications for every single post. on different Facebook housing groups. Then make a template message that you can send to the post like immediately. So normally it's like, hi, I'm Orla, blah, blah, blah. Enough introduction where you're like, they know that you're not a scam and that you're normal to live with, but also add in like a tip or trick or like add in something about the room so they know that it isn't a copy and paste message. So just kind of why you'd like to live in that house or something like fun about your personality. Do be genuine, don't lie and be like, oh yes, I love going out all the time if you don't, because do you really want to live with people who go out all the time? But don't get disheartened. You will find a place, you just need to keep at it. Also, I've just been getting someone else for my room, and I highly recommend to not have your parents involved in like where the other person can see them, because like I've had people messaging me inquiring on behalf of their daughters or their sons, and it's really nice and it's nice that they care that much, but it'll look like a scam, or it will make the people that you want or people that are getting in the room think that you might be a wee bit immature, even if your parents care a lot, which is very nice. It's better if they're like involved where someone else can't see it.
All right, so here are the neighborhoods of Maastricht. On blue, you can see all the different faculties. So on the right side of the map, we have the DKE, which is the science and engineering faculty. Then we have the psychology and the health faculties. These are all located in the Brandwijk area, which is on the other side of the city than the centrum, where then we have the business faculty, the law faculty, the arts and social sciences, as well as UCM, which is the liberal arts. Technically, all the destinations or the distances between different areas are very short. So it's a maximum 15-minute cycle wherever you go. So in that sense, it doesn't really matter where in Maastricht you live. In case you have a very strong preference to certain areas, you can definitely look in that area as well. But I would personally recommend to keep your mind open, because there are as I mentioned earlier, there's a little bit of a housing shortage. So in order to find a place, keep your mind open. All of the areas in Maastricht are very safe, very nice to live in. So nothing to be afraid in that sense. There is also an option to live, for example, in Aachen in Germany, or in Lanaken in Belgium, so right across the borders. Those are, Aachen is maybe like 30 minutes by car, an hour by public transport, and Lanaken is around 20 minutes by bike, depending a little bit where you live. So if you are really struggling to find a place in Maastricht, then look out for these options as well.
So then living expenses. So your rent will be around an average of €500, which includes like gas, water, electricity, and that's if you're sharing an apartment. But if you like your privacy, it will be a bit more expensive. If you want a studio with a private kitchen, it tends to be around €1,000. And then also other expenses can range from like €400 to €600. It depends if you want to live lavishly or live the typical student life, but it's around that range. So your groceries, your gym memberships, association memberships, study materials, all stuff you do. We definitely need your groceries. The rest of them you can probably go without, but stuff that you normally will spend your money on, and then going for drinks, stuff like that. That will range from 400 to 600. If you are someone who's not massively into drinking and going out, then you might save a bit of money. But if you want to spend your money, go ahead. We're not going to tell you not to. But if you are kind of worried about finances, check out our page for financial subsidies, because there's a lot on offer for students and people with lower incomes.
All right, so then on to banking. So the Dutch system is a little bit different. It is changing now, but currently Maestro cards are still the most common. And MasterCard or Visa does not always work at every store. They are changing away from MasterCard, so this is going to change in the upcoming year, but still for now, it's good to take this into account. So if you have a MasterCard or Visa and you don't want to open a student bank account, then make sure you have cash with you so that you don't get stranded at a grocery store, which has happened to me more than once, and it's not fun. So please make sure that you have either a card that works in the stores or cash. Depending on your status, consider opening a bank account. ABN AMRO and ING both have free student accounts. It requires a register with a municipality. We're going to talk more about this in a minute. So just make sure you take this into account. It's also slightly easier for EU students compared to non-EU students, because as an EU student, you can open the accounts directly online. But if you come from non-EU or non-EEA country, then you might have to visit the office of one of these banks. But in the end, it's quite a simple process. Also, if you come from a non-EU country, you most likely will want to open a bank account to avoid any transaction fees and so on. So consider that. In addition, insurances, I know not the most interesting topic, maybe not something that you're think about too much, but very important in case something happens. So we recommend that you take home insurance. So that is basically covering the stuff that you have in your house, all your belongings, and also the room that you stay in. So for example, if something happens in your room, or if there is an unfortunate event of burglary or something like that, which definitely is not common in Maastricht, but you know, better to be safe than sorry, then I definitely recommend getting a home insurance. It's not very expensive. I think I pay around 50 euros a year for that. So definitely worth your money. The other insurance is a liability insurance. So for example, if you crash somebody with your bike and their bike breaks, or if your bike crashes through a window, which I really hope won't happen, but all of these things are possible and do happen. Please do get a liability insurance. It's also only a couple euros a year, and it will save you a lot of money in case accidents happen.
So then financing your studies. For EU students, there is government aid available, but it is under certain conditions, like if you work over 56 hours a week or a month, sorry, and things like that. And you can get tuition fee loans as well. And then non-EU students, there's a lot of scholarships offered by Maastricht University, so you can check out that page on our website.
And then on to your jobs. I know that the majority of students maybe don't want to work or don't need to work, but in case you want to or need to, there are a lot of different opportunities to work a little bit less or to work a little bit more. In a lot of jobs, Dutch is not required, but preferred. So for example, I work at the university sports facilities, so I don't record that Dutch is not required, and for this job as well, Dutch is not required. For some restaurant jobs, that can be then the opposite. So for example, as a student, you might be able to work at a cafe, at a restaurant for the university, or for example, in research in your own field. You can find these jobs, for example, on the vacancy board, which is a university portal. There's jobs that are both provided by the university, as well as then some external companies, for example, organizations that offer internships, jobs, something like that. Then the Inter-UM is the official university employment portal. So we're also employed through Inter-UM. All the jobs that are occurring in the university are mostly from there. Some other websites where you can check for jobs are work.nl and undutchables.nl. So check them out if you're looking for a job. The university also offers free social Dutch courses, so you can sign up for these. Be aware that signing up or the courses fill very, very fast, so make sure you sign up already right when it opens. And a top tip that we have, if you're looking to work at a cafe or restaurant, then go and directly hand in your CVs. It's easier when they can put a name and a face together, and it gives a good impression, because a lot of restaurants and cafes are looking for student employees in the beginning of the year. So definitely walk around the city, see where they are looking for employees, and then hand in your CV.
So then again, this is kind of a boring topic, but it is very important. You need to make sure that your health insurance is valid in the Netherlands. So if you're from the EU, you will only need Dutch public health insurance when you're working or you're over 30 years old. So I have to take out public health insurance, but there's also a subsidy for that, which is really, really handy. And then if you are from outside the EU, it's slightly more complicated, but you will need to purchase Dutch health insurance. And then, as I've mentioned, there's a health insurance subsidy, which is obviously dependent on your income, but I would highly recommend it because I get my health insurance for free. So it might seem like it's a bit of a hassle to apply for it. Definitely recommend it if you don't want to be spending €100 a month.
Then on to the registering with the municipality. This is definitely one of the most important points to take into consideration when you move. So if you're staying here for over 4 months, then you're legally required to register with the municipality. Please do this right away after you arrive in Maastricht. You can do this online. There are specific instructions on our webpage on how to do this, but basically you fill in this form. You obviously need to have accommodation in order to register, so you need to have an address at that point. So how it works is you fill in the form, and they will send you a confirmation email about this. And when you have received a confirmation email, then a couple of weeks later, you're able to book a physical meeting with the municipality. So we need to go there physically, show your passport, birth certificate, and some documentation of your address, and then you're all set to go and you have registered. But please do this. And also when you move away from Maastricht, please remember to deregister, because otherwise it can lead to some problems. For example, your mail going into a wrong address, and so on and so forth. So make sure you also deregister when you leave the city.
Also, if you don't hear back from the municipality after applying and getting the confirmation email, don't panic. They're so busy in September and October. It takes like at least 3 or 4 weeks, but just keep checking your spam email as well, and you will get it. So then in terms of airports and transport, Ronja covered a little bit about the airports earlier, but it's really, really easy to get in and out of Maastricht. We highly recommend that you buy the OV chip card, which it gives you much cheaper travel rather than just buying a ticket every time, and you can just tap on and tap off when you're getting off a bus, or on and off a bus and on and off a train. It's really, really easy to get around. And then also we have so many airports nearby. We have Maastricht, Aachen, Eindhoven, Amsterdam, the 2 Brussels ones, Dusseldorf and Cologne. So Maastricht is really, really handy if you do want to travel. You can basically get anywhere, and we also have like Flexbus and stuff, so you can go to places like Paris. It's a little bit expensive in terms of like longer travel, but it's nothing to be worried about, especially if you're a OV chip card.
Then on to the bikes. If you're coming especially from outside the Netherlands, the bikes and the cycling culture may seem a little bit daunting, but nothing to worry about. You'll figure it out in just a minute. So basically there are dedicated bike lanes everywhere, which is really nice because it makes you also feel a little bit safer. And everything in Maastricht is also very close by. So it takes an absolute maximum of 30 minutes to go from the complete opposite side of the town to the other end. When you arrive, definitely one of the first things we recommend you to do is to buy a bike. You can either find some on Facebook. There are, again, Facebook groups, bikes in Maastricht or something. Again, put in the search bar bike Maastricht, and you find already several groups. Also Marketplaats, which is the most common secondhand web page where you can buy basically anything. So there's a lot of bikes there as well. In addition, if you want to get a leasing bike, so a bike that you pay around 20 euros per month for the most basic one, then if you want some additional stuff like gears and so on, then you have to pay more. You have an option called Swapfiets. So basically you pay every month, but then the good thing is that, like, for example, if your bike breaks or your tire slashes, you just take it to a Swapfiets store and they will either fix it for you or give you a new bike. So it will make your life easier if you don't want to do the repairs yourself or look for any repair stores. There are certain cycling rules, such as never cycle with a phone in your hand. And in the dark, you should always have reflectors and lights on your bike. So make sure you have these. Otherwise, you can be fined, and that's really, really not fun. The fines are pretty high, something between 90 and 150 euros. So please make sure to have these. You literally pay 3 euros for lights. So make sure you get those. It's a lot cheaper than paying for the fines.
So then here's just advice for arrival from what we've learned. So we recommend that you introduce yourself to your new neighbours upon arrival. It might be a little bit awkward, but it's good to know who's living beside you, or if there's an issue, you'll know someone in the building. Also, get to know the trash system. It will seem quite complicated when you get here initially. You will be able to learn it, don't worry. And we recommend that you download an app called the Milieu app. It's also, you can see it on our website because I know I can't pronounce Dutch words very well. And that has a searchable database which will tell you exactly where to dispose of stuff. And also you can set notifications for your address. So it'll be, you can get the notification on like the day before at 11 to be like, okay, this is getting picked up today, which is really, really handy if you're forgetful like me. We also really heavily recommend that you register with a family doctor. Your family doctor is basically like the gatekeeper to everything else health-wise, excluding dental. And it just also means that you won't end up in the emergency room for something that's not major, which will also be quite expensive for you. And also, we know your students, you just want to live your best life. Remember, there's lots of other people in your neighborhood. They might not all be students. They might not want to listen to techno at 3 a.m. like my neighbors like to do. Just be a little bit respectful, keep it in mind. Most people will be fine too if you tell them, hey, we're going to have a party this night. Because then again, they're aware, but don't be playing techno at 3 a.m., please.
All right, then on to the community and lifestyle. You can also find a community and lifestyle section on our webpage. We have a ton of great bars and restaurants. So fun fact is that there are more bars and restaurants in Maastricht than there are days in the year. So you can definitely find new places to try all the time. A lot of different affordable options, a lot of fine dining as well. So basically for whatever you prefer, you can find something. There are also a ton of different options to join different clubs. We have over 30 sports associations and all type of other clubs. So basically anything you can think of, from study associations to basically anything else, there is something for that. If there isn't, you can always start your own club, and I'm sure people will want to join that as well. There's also very diverse music and cultural scene. So a lot of different things going on all the time, different festivals, a lot of live performances, all that kind of things. You can also find these on our webpage.
So here's more of the serious details again. If you're in need of a visa, the visa office will contact you, but there's their email just in case you have any questions. And if you want to apply for a scholarship, as we mentioned earlier, you can contact the scholarship office. And then if there's something that those offices can't answer and we can't answer, we recommend contacting the SSC, which is the Student Services Centre, because that basically can answer most stuff. It has the International Student Help Desk. We're in there. It has the Her Team Limburg as well. So if we can't answer it, we would recommend that you contact them because they'll definitely be able to answer it or point you in the right way to someone who can.
Also, all your study-related questions can be sent to study@maastricht.nl website. So they will then refer to the right place. On to the key messages of this presentation. We are slowly coming towards the end. We definitely recommend finding housing as early as possible. So if you are coming in September and you're still looking for a place, start messaging people, see if you already know somebody from Maastricht. Maybe they have maybe they know somebody who's leaving their room or leaving their apartment, so check that out. Also, before you arrive, make sure you either have a health insurance. So if you come from an EU country, then you usually have this blue EHIC card, so that works as your health insurance if you are not working. In the case you're working, then it's a little bit of a different situation. Also, if you come from a non-EU country, then make sure to apply for Dutch health insurance. We recommend to arrive in early August, so then you have a couple weeks time to get used to the city. You can join INKOM and get ready for the year. After arriving, register with the municipality. After you have registered, you will receive a BSN number, which will help you in getting a DigiD, which is basically an online app that you can use to, for example, access your bank account, access different services from the government, and so on. Also, if you think you need a bank account, please make sure to get one as well, and then get a bike and learn how the trash system works. And then you're all set and ready to go for your life in Maastricht.
So if you want to follow us on any of our social medias, please do, because it's my job and I want to look good. So they're all here, and if you've forgotten, just type in mymaastricht, you'll find us somewhere.
Then there's also INKOM that I just very briefly mentioned. So if you're starting your studies, this is meant for all first-year students, bachelor and masters. It's a week of fun activities. You can sign up online. There's some pictures from some previous years. It's a week full of events, getting to know people. They have parties, they have open movie night. They have all the associations are presenting themselves at a fair, and basically it's a good way to get to know people, but also to get to know all the activities in town.
Yeah, I would highly recommend doing INKOM because I did it and a lot of my friends then ended up being from my group. It's not all drinking too. If you want to do drinking, go ahead, that's more than welcome. But also it's not all about that. Like there's plenty of opportunities if you don't like to drink. And then this is our contact details. If you have any questions, that's Ronya's email and my email, and also our WhatsApp number. Please don't call that number because I have it at the phone and I'm in the middle of writing my thesis. So please do not call it at 2 a.m. We do not like that. And then in case of special cases, the first email there is the International Student Help Desk at the SSC, so they can help you if we can't. And then as Ronja mentioned earlier, the second email is for the Team Zoid Limburg, so they can help you with any legal stuff regarding contracts and things like that, and they do it all for free.
Also, you can see our social media here. So we have an Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and our general email. So please follow us on social media. A lot of our updates are also occurring there, and Orla makes nice TikTok, so we'll check them out.
Thanks. Brilliant. I think that's everything, unless Ashton has any questions that she wants us to address.
There weren't too many recurring ones, but there's one here that I'm not sure how to answer. On maastrichthousing.com, after subscribing to a room, what happens next? Do we know?
Well, if you have managed to subscribe, because they have two systems. They have a system where you need to apply and then a system where you need to subscribe. So if you have subscribed, then you should receive a confirmation from them and then an email about what to do next. If you haven't received this, then I would say to contact Maastricht Housing directly.
Someone asks, is starting a bank account and registering with the municipality a long process? I can already say no.
It's only long in that the municipality might not get back to you immediately, but it's like you can register online and you have like a 2-minute meeting where they make sure that you're definitely you. Then you get your BSN, and like when I did it, I could get my bank account about 5 minutes after I got my BSN.
Yeah, and you can do the bank account thing online as well, depending on what bank you decide to sign up with ABN AMRO. For sure, you can do it all online. You don't need to talk to anybody. Someone also asks, what
if you're an EU student, if you're a non-EU student, then you need to visit the bank physically. ABN AMRO does not have an office in Maastricht. ING does. So if you're not willing to travel a couple times over, then I would recommend opening a bank at ING.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that point. Someone also asks, what if my Swapfiets bike gets stolen? Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to go ahead.
Valid question. Depends on if you have locked it or not. So they have different rules. Your Swapfiets bike has 2 locks. If you've locked it with 2 locks, then you pay a lower fee. If you've locked it with 1, it's a little higher. And if you didn't lock it at all, then you need to pay like the full bike price, which is like 400, 500 euros. They are somehow able to see if you have locked it, so it doesn't. So please always lock your bike. They won't believe you if you say that you locked it and you didn't. So always lock your bike when you go somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if you mentioned, like if your bike gets stolen, sometimes it's the municipality who takes it away if you've parked it in an incorrect place. Sometimes the municipality goes around and they take it on board, and you have to go to this, you have to look it up on this website. I can't remember what it's called, and you can see if it's been taken by the municipality or if it's been actually stolen, and you can get it back when you pay 25 euros from the municipality. Okay, we just have a lot of questions that have come in last minute there, so I think we should answer them. Someone asks, what are the average living costs in Maastricht, rent and everything else included? So
we actually covered that earlier. It's 500-ish for rent, including gas, water, and electricity. And then for actual living, it would be around 400 to 600 euro. But that depends if you're, going out and spending lavishly and doing a lot of online shopping like I do, or if you want to live more like a student life.
Perfect. Someone asks, is it legal to rent an apartment in Belgium?
Yes, assuming you're an EU student. If you're a non-EU student, then you need to have a separate visa for Belgium. So, so yeah, make sure you know which one is concerning you. Otherwise, if you're an EU student, it's fine. But then you need to register with the municipality in Belgium and not in Maastricht.
Yeah. If I'm under 18, will I have problems with my bank account or getting a bike? Bank account, maybe.
Bank account, maybe, but then I mean, if you have your parents sign in some forms, I'm sure it's going to be okay. Getting a bike, if you buy a secondhand bike, then definitely not. Also, Swapfiets you can get when you're under 18.
Perfect, thank you. What tickets should you buy for INKOM, or if you are not into partying and drinking?
I'm quite sure that it's kind of the same tickets for everything. You just don't have to do everything. No one's obviously going to force you, but also it's quite a long event, so no one will mind if you go home and don't drink, and no one really cares if you don't drink either. So it's just the same ticket.
Yeah, don't feel pressured. There's other events that aren't drinking events,
Yeah,
but it's the same entrance ticket, right? So it's
yeah.
How do I register to the extra-curricular activities?
Well, it depends on what you want to register for. If you want to register, for example, the gym, so we have a university gym called Sports. You can do it online for all the extracurricular activities. You can, if you're joining INKOM, they are presenting themselves there. They are telling how to do that. But usually they have, for example, open practice at different sports clubs. You can go and check them out. And then if you want to join, then you can register afterwards. For other clubs, similar system. Usually they have open days or open practices, whatever, where you can go and try it out. And if you want to register after that, then you can join.
Perfect. Can I receive student aid for working over 56 hours if I live in Belgium, or do I need to also work there?
The 56 hours is only for Dutch people living in the Netherlands. So you cannot receive Dutch government aid for this if you live in Belgium.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you have to be living in the Netherlands and be an EU student.
Yeah. There's one question that I'm not really clear on what they mean. They say, what is the booking process, ? Is a visa or residence permit required for this? I think this person previously asked about renting an apartment in Belgium versus
the
Netherlands. Do you see? Yeah.
Yes, I think this is the one where you get the RNI. You have to
so
go.
if you live in Belgium, but you are coming to the Netherlands and you, for example, work in the Netherlands, then you need a separate permit for that. But you can, we have a section about this on our website as well, so you can check that out. And if you don't find the answer there, then just email me and I'll figure it out for you.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you, guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you enjoy living in Maastricht? This is a good question.
Honestly, I think about a 9 or a 10. I'm so sad that I'm going to have to be leaving this year. Because Maastricht is a small city, but it also kind of at weekends has really big city vibes. So wherever you're feeling, you can always get it. I know I'm genuinely very sad to be leaving.
Yeah, I would say maybe an 8, but I have 6 years in Maastricht, so I'm not really feeling the pressure of leaving yet. It's nice, you get away very, very fast. If you come from a bigger city like I do, it feels a little small sometimes, but then as we mentioned earlier, you can get away very quickly as well.
Mm-hmm. I like the small vibes. It's got a small town vibe, but it definitely is a city, and there's always things happening here, like festivals, events.
There's always something on.
There's always something on, which is really fun. What else? Does the International Student Network still exist? Do you guys know this?
Yes, they're Erasmus.
Yes and no, right?
Yeah, you don't need to be a Erasmus student, but it's just a general term because I was in ESN this year.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. So it's called Erasmus Student Network.
Yeah.
Yes, it still exists. Okay. Perfect. And what was the weirdest thing for you when you started living in Maastricht?
Ooh, good question. I think honestly that like the cars were so respectful of cyclists and pedestrians. Like they were very much, it's kind of priority goes to pedestrians, then cyclists, then cars. And it was really nice and refreshing where you kind of felt like it also felt very eco-friendly because everybody cycles here and there's not that many cars.
I would argue cyclists are at the top of the list.
Interesting.
Everybody stops for cyclists. Like you
Oh,
can,
true, yeah.
you shouldn't do whatever you want, but you can, and everybody will pause for you.
Don't do whatever.
Yeah, don't do whatever you want, but if you have to, which is really confusing. Yeah, I have to say. What about you, Rania?
Well, I would say the trash system was very different. It gets some time getting used to, but after you get how it works, then it's pretty simple in the end.
Yeah, perfect. Is it difficult to find part-time jobs for a uni student in Maastricht?
No, very easy. All restaurants, especially in the autumn, are looking for people. So I don't know anybody who would not have found a job, even if they would have wanted to work.
Yeah, it's super easy, I think, hopefully for you. If we are EU students, we have to do municipality process.
Yes, if you're here for 4 months and more. If you're not here for 4 months, there's a different type of registration you have to do called an RNI, but there's more information about that on our website.
Yeah. What's your opinion on taking 2 degrees in your first year of Maastricht?
Well, I've done it. Depends a lot on you and depends on how much energy you have. Personally, I would say that don't do it. If you want to have a lot of time with your friends, you want to get to know people, get to know places, unless you have a very specific reason. Personally, for me, was I had to graduate from my other university in a set amount of time, so I didn't really have an option than to just keep continuing my other study. But I would say that if you have the opportunity or option not to do 2 studies at the same time, then I wouldn't maybe do that.
Yeah, especially in your first year, everything is going to be brand new, so you need time to get settled. If you think you're more than capable and you don't think that there'll be any issue, go ahead. But personally, I wouldn't recommend it because also you need to kind of settle, meet people, and if you're just studying all the time, you know, you're gonna do great in academics, but you need to like have friends, people to talk to as well. So you don't want to be feeling left out or anything.
Yeah, and it does take time to like. I personally underestimated moving to another country. I've lived in a ton of different countries, but I underestimated how much mental capacity it's also going to take. So I would definitely first start with little and then add in more extracurriculars, more studying, whatever you prefer afterwards.
Yeah, I think that was good advice. It's also intense here, you know,
Yeah,
studying here is kind of intense. Because speaking about the intensity, somebody asks how hard are the exams?
that heavily depends on your course.
Yeah.
So your course might have an ambassador on Instagram. So I would recommend going on your course website and then see. But unfortunately, we all study very different things, so we can't really answer a general question like that.
Yeah. You'll have to wait and see. Is there an Uber, Grab or something like that in Maastricht other than buses and regular taxis?
Uber is actually here now. But I don't really know. Maastricht is small enough to get around. I don't think I could ever see myself using it.
Yeah.
And like you can cycle from one end of the city to another in 20 minutes. So the option's there, but I know the taxis are quite expensive here as well.
Yeah, it's true. You just need a bike to get around, honestly. It's the best way. It's not a very car friendly city. It's very bike friendly and walking friendly, I would say.
Definitely. Very walking friendly because I walk everywhere.
Someone asks, do I have to buy tickets for every INKOM event? No, it's just the one ticket and it lets you into all the events as far as I know.
I think when I did it, there was 2 events that you had to buy the extra tickets for. And that was the like final party and the Cantus. But I would recommend buying the extra tickets for them because you don't want to make great friends with your INKOM group and then they're going, oh, do you want to go to the Cantus? And it's sold out, which happened to people.
Yeah,
and you can get these on the INKOM website. So if you just Google INKOM Maastricht 2023, you'll get to the website and find it there.
Perfect. Are there websites you recommend which offer legit student housing? I mean, we did a slide on it. And if you're afraid of getting scammed, we have a page on our website all about like red flags that you should look out for. Yeah, yeah, not visiting rooms is very common here, because, you know, a lot of people aren't here when they're looking for housing. Just, you need to trust your gut a little bit, and yeah, don't sign anything, or don't send any money before you sign anything, right? That's the advice.
Yeah.
Are any of you interested in living full-time in Maastricht after you graduate? Does studying in Maastricht give you an advantage if you want to immigrate permanently to Maastricht later?
Unfortunately, I'm leaving Maastricht, but it's more just I kind of want to explore different places because I've only really lived in like Ireland, Scotland, and the Netherlands, so I would love to go to other places. I'm in terms of immigrating permanently, I'm not 100% sure. I assume so because you know you've lived here, you'd be able to get used to the culture and stuff, but not 100% sure.
I think it's a good way if you want to live in the Netherlands permanently. It's definitely a good way in. Yeah, once you get your BSN, you can get a job after that, and you can get set up. And it's a really like livable city. It's really nice here. Maybe a question for you, Rania, because it's about Sports. I will do volleyball tryouts, and I'm in contact with Sports. Do you think it's a good idea?
If you want to try volleyball, in the beginning of the year, they have the tryouts. I would not contact Sports directly, but the association called FYRFAD, so FYRFAD. I would contact them and ask them when they have their tryouts. I'm sure they don't have the dates set yet, so maybe wait until mid-August or something, and then shoot them a message.
Cool. Would you be able to direct me to a student studying in European law at Does anybody know?
They do have a student ambassador on Instagram. Not entirely sure what the exact address is.
The name? I'm sure
of the Instagram page. But if you just Google Maastricht or on Instagram search Maastricht University Law, then you'll find the pages.
Yeah. Can you transfer from one degree to another? For example, I do biomed for a year, and then I could transfer to medicine. Yeah,
so I study medicine myself. There are quite a few people who did biomed for a year or 2 years. You will not get any credits in medicine, so you need to start from the beginning. You cannot transfer to medicine from any degree. If you want to study medicine, you always have to start from year 1. So there is no possibility to just jump in, for example, for the 2nd or the 3rd year. But what you can definitely do is you do 1 year biomed, then you apply to medicine after that. So that is possible.
Okay, great, thank you. And then seems like it's the last one. Are there many tourists in Maastricht?
Yes. And the weekends especially.
Weekends.
It's so busy. Like there's such a buzz around the town. Though it is really nice. Kind of annoying if you want to get somewhere and you have to walk through the city centre because people like to have a nice long walk, whereas I'm on a mission. But it's really nice. There's always like a really nice vibe when there's lots of tourists in.
It's also just, it's the city in the south of the Netherlands, right? So all of the little villages, people tend to just flock to the city on the weekends for shopping.
Yeah.
So it gets very busy. I think that's every question.
Yeah.
No more have come in. Yeah, just a reminder that we have our website called mymaastricht.nl, and we also have all of our social media pages. And you can reach out to any of us at any time if you have forgotten to ask a question. And yeah, thank you very much for joining. I don't think I'm forgetting anything else, am I?
No, that's you.
There's another question. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, you're welcome. Okay, have a great evening, everybody. And thank you, Rania and Orla, for showing up. You did great.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you guys. Bye.
Bye.